Mike, you were interested, and it's always interesting to talk about 3D printed guns and the fact that it's possible to make them. And then once you have made them out of some sort of synthetic non-metal fabric, then it's possible to take them into places where they can't be detected. Tell us about this 3D printed poison dart gun that was created.
Well, there was an article earlier this week on TechCrunch. It was pointing to a guy's YouTube video where he as some kind of a protest to the State Department's coming out and saying that they were going to, I guess, clarify regulations around ITAR and export regulations around weapons, to say that it would be, the regulations would prohibit distributing blueprints for weapons on, I guess, online, or just generally distributing them to the world. And so this guy took issue with that. And so he made this, I think you can see it in the video stream, he 3D printed like a dart gun, and he made it so he could put like a scope on it and like a laser sight. and it's got rubber bands on the side of it. And it's just, to me, it struck me as kind of ridiculous because it's, you know, it's clearly not a gun. But what struck me that was interesting about it was that it didn't strike me as being all that controversial that the government would regulate distribution of plans for weapons. This is not treading all that new ground. You know, export regulations have always regulated the disclosure of information to people in other countries that are you know, considered restricted by our country. And so, you know, how you make a handgun may not be particularly useful to like a terrorist, although who's to say that the handgun won't be made in a fashion that could go through a metal detector? And then where do you draw the line? As the 3D printers become more effective, or you're using a more expensive 3D printer, if our goal as a government is to try to keep these weapons from moving from our country into countries that don't have them, restricting people from posting blueprints for how to make them seems like it wouldn't be that controversial. But I guess gun control is a hot button issue, and people feel really strongly about it. But I just thought it was an interesting story. And if you go to the video site, you can watch the guy shoot darts out of his gun and pop balloons. It's kind of, I thought it was kind of entertaining.
Yeah, it is. And it raises a whole mess of issues about what is going to be permissible in the 3D printing realm. I think we'll make blueprint our first MCLE passphrase for this episode of This Week in Law. If you are listening for continuing legal or other professional education credit, we put these phrases in so that you can demonstrate that you have watched or listened to the show. And if you need more information about that, go to wiki.twit.tv and find our This Week in Law page. And there you will find more information. Sarah, any thoughts on the 3D printed dart gun that is not an actual gun, but kind of, I mean, looks very much like one?
No, I mean, I thought it was kind of an amusing, well, not amusing, but interesting story. And I think 3D printing is going to raise a lot of new legal issues, you know, not only copyright, but all kinds of, and it's interesting to see it now playing into, I didn't realize there was proposed legislation to make gun blueprints illegal, but I imagine we're going to see all kinds of proposed laws. I don't know what will actually happen, but what will come of it. But I think there's going to be there's a whole new world with 3D printing that we're just kind of just starting to see. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, right. Part of what to think about making the blueprints illegal, my understanding is they're not saying that you can't make a blueprint for a gun. They're saying don't send the blueprint of the gun to someone in another country.
To distribute, right.
Yeah, don't send it to, don't put it someplace where the terrorists are going to find it, which seems pretty reasonable. So it's more about, you know, where you disclose information as opposed to what information can be published.